Welcome friends, this video is part of ancient history video tutorial series. In this video let's discuss about features of Aryan society. So this section is very important from prelims point of view. Lot of questions comes from this section. Please be alert. First let's look at the features. Aryans were mainly pastoralists. They were the herders of cattle and they moved from one place to another. So agriculture is the secondary occupation for them. Agriculture was the secondary occupation and pastoralism was the primary occupation. Please remember. And they had a male dominated society called patriarchal society. And for Aryans, cows are important than that of land. Okay, cows are important than land. So Aryans were waged wars against other tribes for the cows, for the possession of cows. That was the craze for the cows among the Aryans. Okay, they had least concern towards the land because their society was not territorial. Okay, and horse played an important role in their life because they moved into India with the help of swift moving horses, and they involved horses in the war making. Okay, we know about the Aryans from the Rig Veda. The book mentioned about Arya, the word Arya, in 36 times. So Aryans, when they came to India, they came into conflict with the original inhabitants of the country. Okay, so these inhabitants were called Dasas and Dasyus. So here the two terms, different terms, Dasa and Dasyu. The Dasa refers to a branch of early Aryans, a tribe, a branch of early Aryans in the subcontinent. They were settled earlier than the Rigvedic Aryans. Okay, Dasyus refers to indigenous, original inhabitants of the country. Okay, so they were the worship of phallus, that is linga, and they did not practice cattle rearing. They practiced agriculture. Dasyus were the original inhabitants. So they were harsh towards Dasyus. Aryans were harsh towards Dasyus, and they show lenient attitude towards Dasas while attacking them. Okay, so next let's look at the territorial administration. There was no civil or territorial administration whatsoever during Aryan period because they were pastoralist. So if you want to have territorial administration, you need to lead a settled life. So since pastoralism was the primary occupation for them, they did not attach that much importance to territorial administration. Okay, so next let's look at the tribal conflict. Aryans had Indra as the main god. Okay, main god. They referred Indra as Purandara. The meaning of Purandara is breaker of the fort. Okay, so this shows they consider Indra as the warlord. Okay, warlord. So Aryans possessed the chariots driven by the horses. It was first introduced by the Aryans to India from West Asia and Central Asia. Okay, so Aryans introduced chariots driven by horses into India. Okay, so please remember. So after settling in India, Aryans were majorly divided into 5 important tribes. Even though there were other tribes, these 5 tribes are important. They were called Panchajana. Okay, so one event was important in the Rigvedic Aryan life. That is called Battle of 10 Kings. So there was a battle happened between Bharata of Tristu were ruling Aryan clans. Okay, this Bharata and Tristu on one side, and 10 kings, that is a confederacy of 5 Aryan kings, okay, and 5 non-Aryan kings on the other side. So these two parties entered into war. Later Bharata and Tristu group won the war, and Bharata joined hands with Puru, one of the 10 kings, okay, who were defeated. Okay, they joined hands with Puru. They formed a new tribe called Kuru. Okay, Bharata joined hands with Puru and they formed a new tribe called Kuru. And later Kuru combined with Panchala, a tribe living in the Saptasindhu region, and ruled the upper Gangetic basin during the later Vedic period. I hope you understood this concept. Okay, so next let's look at the material life during the early Vedic period. So early Vedic period, they had horses as important vehicles and chariots, better arms made out of bronze, which were part of their life. Okay, horses in coupled with the chariot and bronze equipments, that is war equipments, provided them better tools to attack other tribes. Okay, and they introduced spoked wheel into India. So please remember, they introduced the spoked wheel into India. Aryans introduced them. They had better knowledge of agriculture, but agriculture was used to produce fodder majorly, okay, for their cattle, not for food grains. Okay, and cultivated field was known as kshetra. Please remember, these were the terms of Vedic period, so this may come in the prelims examination. The cultivated field was known as kshetra. Plowing was known as krishi, plowing. Okay, plow known as langla, and plowshare was known as phala. So these were the important terms. And wars was fought for the sake of cows, not for the territory, as I mentioned earlier. So the meaning of war itself is search for cows. Okay, the war means gavisti at that time. That means search for cows. This shows the importance for the cows among the Aryans. And now let's look at the artisans who are present during the Aryan period. These were carpenters, chariot makers, weavers, leather workers, and potters. So we found pre-iron phase of painted graveware. It was coincided with the early Vedic, the Rig Vedic period. So these were the painted graveware pottery. So now let's look at the tribal political organization. The tribal chief, the head of the tribe, is called Rajan, not Raghuram Rajan. Rajan. The position is hereditary. Okay, the position is hereditary, but with no unlimited power. The power of the Rajan was checked and balanced by Sabhas, Samitis, Vidatas, and Ganas. These were the popular assemblies. Okay, popular assemblies. They had deliberative functions, military and religious functions. These popular assemblies. These were the collection of elderly people of the society. Okay, so women were also part of the Sabhas and Samitis, and these Sabhas and Samitis were of prominence during the early Vedic period. So they were major decision makers in association with the Raja. Okay, so they lost the power during the later Vedic period, but during the early Vedic period they were major component of the decision making and administration. Okay, so women were part of the Sabhas and Samitis, and they were part of the decision making process. But later, during the later Vedic period and Purana age, they were sidelined. Women were sidelined. Okay, and this is important. This also prelims question. Now let's look at the assistance to the king. Okay, Purohita was the major help for the king for philosophical guidance. Okay, Vasishtha and Vishwamitra were the contemporaries during this Vedic period. Okay, so they helped the Aryans to extend their influence outside their Aryan influence. Okay, so Vishwamitra was composer of the Gayatri Mantra. Okay, Gayatri Mantra, and he was liberal and he was cool. Okay, liberal. But Vasishtha, he was conservative and he was rash and he was short tempered. Okay, these were the two important sages during the Rig Vedic period. And next, king was assisted by Senani. Okay, and later king received voluntary offerings, not the mandatory voluntary offerings like taxes in the called bali from the people for leading the state. And Vrajapati, an officer who enjoyed authority over large land or pasture ground. So this term is also important. Please remember, Rajapati, an officer who enjoyed authority over large land or pasture ground. So Vajrapati led the head of families called Kulapa. So head of families were headed by the Rajapati. Okay, so military functions were performed by different tribe groups called Rata, Gana, Grama, Sadra. Okay, so thanks for watching. These were the important features of Aryan society. Please share the videos, and I'm going to update my Facebook page with recent articles, important articles, and mock questions and other relevant information for the UPSC preparation. Please visit my Facebook page, and link is provided in the description box below. Otherwise, you just type facebook.com/UPSC General Studies. Okay, facebook.com/UPSC General Studies. Go ahead and like that page and